Hey y'all, this is my brother, Coach. Oh no, that's real bad. All right, let's just get to it. You have a paper that looks something like this, might be a different color. I would pause right now and just read. So pause my voice and just read this, and then we'll start together. Okay, I'm assuming you just paused the video and you did some reading. We're going to look at a couple examples here on the cover, and basically what we're trying to do after having read this, we have an equation that looks like this. This is called standard form, where you have a constant with x, a constant with y, and then just a constant by itself on the other side. And what we're trying to do is just get y by itself. So we call this form slope-intercept form, and basically we want to have a number with x plus another number. And right now you notice there's a 2y and there's a 6x in front of it. So what we want to do is, the first thing we're going to get rid of is that 6x. So the 2 and the y are attached. We're going to leave it alone. Our goal is to get y by itself. And so I just want to move this 6x off the left side. So I'm going to take it away. So positive 6x, I take away a 6x, and I do the same thing to the other side. So that's going to get the 6x to go away. It's going to look like it moves over here. I'm just going to rewrite 2y equals, and I'm actually going to write the negative 6x first. So I can't put that negative 10 and the negative 6x together because they're not the same. And then I'm just going to write the minus 10. So this is just trying to get it closer and closer to that y equals something x plus a number. Now I just have two y's. I want to get one y. So to do that, I divide, right? Just do the opposite. Anything I do to one side, I do to the other. So I'm actually going to divide this whole right side by 2. That means this gets divided by 2, as well as this. So negative 6 divided by 2 is just going to be negative 3. I'm going to bring that x down. Negative 10, or subtract 10 divided by 2 is just going to be a minus 5. So we can kind of reiterate here, anything I do to one side, I'm going to do to the entire other side. So every little piece gets divided by 2, just like we did with that 2y, right? So what's great is, from this form, I see that the negative 3 that attaches to the x, that's just my slope. And if I wanted to graph, it'd probably be easier just to have two numbers, right? A rise and a run. So drop 3, run 1. And all I did was I attached that negative to the top, and then just added 1 to keep it the same. So just having that fraction form really helps us as far as graphing goes. Okay, so now we have this negative 4x plus 8y equals 15. So we'll just do one more here on the front. And same idea, right? So I just want to get y by itself. Right now the y is on the left, so I'm going to keep it on the left. And all I'm going to do is just think of opposites, right? So negative 4x, let's get rid of that first, plus 4x. Anything I do to one side, I do to the other. Cancels out. And essentially I'm just going to have 8y equals 4x, right? And that's just a positive 4x. And that's a positive 15. So I'm just going to add the 15. Now, 8y equals 4x plus 15. With that, I have, to get rid of my 8y's, I just want one y, so I'm going to divide by 8. I'm going to do the same on the right to everything, just like I did before. 4 divided by 8. If you did that in the calculator, you would get 0.5, which could also just be written as a fraction, 1/2. I'm going to write x, so it's like a 1/2 x plus, and this actually is pretty ugly. I'm just going to leave it how it is. If you were to put it in the calculator, to get a decimal, and it's totally fine just the way it is right now. So let's just leave it. Our slope, though, is just that number that attaches to the x, and that's just going to be a 1/2. So because I'm a great human, I did put these slopes on an answer bank. So that negative 3 and that 1/2 were both answers. That's just an easy way to check yourself. If you're getting the slopes right, you're doing great. These two below, if you can do these with me, you can definitely do these two. But I did want to just point out like the whole goal of why we do something like this. So if I look here, right, the game's the same. So I'm just going to try to get y by itself. So I'm going to set my target. But the reason we do this is so that we can actually graph. And so, you know, we have a negative y, 5x, and a 2. I want to get rid of the 5x so I can get eventually y by itself. So I'm just going to take away 5x. Do the same to the other side. Cancels. I'm going to bring down that negative y equals, and I'm going to write the negative 5x. That's just a regular 2, so I'm going to put plus 2. And you'll notice we're really close to what we need, but we're not all the way there. When you see something like negative y, right, how many y's is that? It's just 1. So a lot of times it helps to write that 1 in there. We've talked about that a little bit in just different ways. So now I just want to get rid of negative 1y, so I'm going to divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 cancels out. Negative 5 divided by negative 1, those negatives cancel, so I'm just going to get a 5x. And then 2 divided by negative 1 is actually going to flip that sign. If these negatives and positives are kind of weirding you out, I would just say use a calculator. There's no shame in that. Like the more you do it, you'll just start to see patterns and you'll be good at it. So our slope is the number that attaches to the x, 5, but if we're graphing, it helps to write it like a fraction, 5 over 1. And then what we can do with this is actually graph. So that 5x, right, that's our slope. This negative 2 is our y-intercept. So on that y line, I can actually go and mark the negative 2, and then I can use that 5 over 1 to graph. So I can go, basically move from the dot, right? So I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over 1. Right, so rise 5, run 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, run 1. Right? If I were to just connect these dots, and this just can be a sketch, so mine's looking a little wonky, but the idea is, you know, it's a line that goes pretty high up because you have 5 rises and only 1 run, so it's going to be a pretty steep line. So what you get to do is this. Turn these into equations in slope-intercept form, and then you'll get to practice a little bit of graphing here on the inside. The most important thing is that you're being able to get from here to here, right? And this is just sort of a nice extension so you can kind of see why we do this. You have your mission, now accomplish it. That's an awkward thing to say. All right, y'all have fun. Bye.